Okay, well, as you all know, today I'm going to talk about the Islamic economical principle, and most probably concentrating more about Islamic banking and something called zakat. Actually, I wrote this on the board because they are Arabic names, and while I'm talking, I know it might be hard for you to listen to the word, so that's why I wrote them on the board. First of all, I would like to mention something, that the Islamic economical law is not Sharia. Sharia is the whole religion. It contains the Islamic law, the social, the religion, everything. While you're concentrating only about the economical system and the economical point of view, not the whole Sharia. It's a very big thing. So I'll start to talk about the basics of this Islamic system. Remember, David, and all of you, that graph that we saw in the first weekend about the relation between the systems that showed that the Islamic system is the most contradicted with other systems. Actually, the reason of that is that the Islamic system has a basic that is against interest, where all other all other economic laws support the interests. For example, when you get a loan, you must pay interest. That's 0% interest is only accepted in the Islamic economical law. Why is that? Because in Islam, we think, or the religion, it shows that an interest shows unfairness between people, or not equity. We mentioned that usury is, for example, an interest of 50%. That's called usury. But in Islam, 0.5% of interest is also considered as usury. As I told you, why is that? It's because risk must be mutual between all parties. But when you take a loan, you have an interest of, for example, 5%, 10%, whatever. The only person who is under risk is the person who took the loan, and the bank has no risk on the money. So that's the main reason. How the Islamic banking or the Islamic economical system developed? Now it's the time to talk about Islamic banking more. Of course, Islam can't stay away from banking. Life is developing since thousands of years. So all the developed techniques, there are many developed techniques that are based on this principle, no interest. So for example, if you want to take a loan from a bank, the most traditional way is to go to the bank, take a loan, pay interest on this loan, and that's it. In Islam, it's something different. For example, if you want to buy a car, you go to the bank, and now I'm mentioning the term murabaha. It's translated as profits. In Arabic, you can say it's profits. So murabaha is when you go to a bank and you want to buy a car. So this bank that's working on the Islamic principle, the difference is that it doesn't give interest. But at the same time, the bank can give you the money without profit because it needs to stay in the business, unless they will close the next day. So they do something called profit from trading, because trading is something accepted in the religion, while interest is not. So the thing that happens is that you go to the bank, You ask for this car, for example. I want to buy this car. It costs, for example, 10,000 euros. So this bank buys the car for you from that car salon or whatever with 10,000 euros. But you previously agree, the person who wants to buy the car and the bank, that there can be a profit, for example, of 5%. The bank sells the car again for you with a profit of 5%. This is called trading. You buy and you sell with a profit percentage. So this is trading, and this is the way how things goes on. So, but the thing, it should be two separate contracts. The first contract between the bank and the car salon, for example, and the second contract between the person and the bank who wants to buy this car. So that's the first, which is most commonly used. It's also an example of car, but of course it can be a home, any commodity that a person needs. The second principle is called mudaraba. This is profit sharing. Yes?
About the first principle. Well, what you said makes a lot of sense, but in effect what happens is that there is the same effect of interest in the end.
So it's like another word.
The same, but another way.
It's not interest because...
You don't call it interest.
Yeah, but...
You call it profit.
Yeah, but in the end it's the same as interest.
That's what I told you from the beginning.
Yeah, so how is that how is it more right than taking an interest in effect?
The God cannot see it if you don't call it interest.
Interest is not allowed, okay?
Because it's not fair to the...
Okay, now we all agree that interest is not allowed. A bank gives loans, or not loans. Some people want to have financing to buy something. The bank can't give money without profit, because they will close the next day. Yes. They need a profit to save the business. So they do it from the trading point of view. I sell something, I buy it. I buy something, then I sell it with a profit margin, which is not 50%, it's a low margin that's previously accepted between the both parties. In this way, the person can get the car he wants with an amount, and at the same time the bank is also having profit, and it's staying in the business under the principle of trading and not interest. And that was one of the techniques that was developed on the basis of no interest.
Well, yeah, that's all clear, but the overall effect of whatever they propose, they're doing is the same as interest, which is they get some money in order to keep the business running so they're not closed the next day. So the methodology is a bit different, but the overall effect is the same. So how is it more fair to the person, to the normal person, more than interest?
Okay, for example, you buy something with 10,000 euros. Okay, you want to buy something costs 10,000 euros.
Yeah.
The principle, zero interest. There's no interest. If you want to pay back for this land, you must pay back 10,000 euros, right? The next day the bank will close and there will be no banking system in the whole country. We will keep living as if 2,000 years ago, and we will put our money under the carpet every day in our homes. There will be no banking systems, there is no profit. So in order to get out of this problem, this is interest. We go to trading as any other company.
Just to say, I do understand what you're saying, but my question is, you said that interest is not allowed because it's not fair in order for the people.
Yes. Yes.
So, but if the overall result is the same as interest, so how is it more fair to the consumer?
Excuse me, if I may for a while, I think we all understand both concepts and both points of view, and since everybody seems to me to be a bit hungry, I suggest you guys discuss the terminology and all this over lunch, and or we can discuss it also after lunch, and I'll get back to this. But